I just bought a brand new car at age 63, and honestly, I wasn't even planning to do so. I have been driving my Mazda for several years now, and I love my Mazda. And I originally thought I would keep it for a long time. But eventually I started asking myself, does it make sense to keep putting money into this car when I'm getting closer to retirement? And that's when I started this whole process. So my Mazda was not that old. It was a 2018 and it had around 90,000 miles. And I loved my Mazda. I loved the way it drove. Up until recently, I hadn't had any problems with it. So I wasn't desperately looking for a new car. Then the repairs and the maintenance that I had to do recently got me thinking differently. So a month or so ago, my check engine light came on in my Mazda. And the whole time I've owned it, it's never come on. So I took it into the Mazda dealership and it was a very expensive repair. It was $1,600 because there was a issue with the coolant controller arm, something like that. So that got me thinking, what if something major happens? I mean, is this just the start now where it's getting older and all these things are going to start breaking? And $1,600, that was a lot of money. As I'm getting closer to retirement, I thought, is now the time to start fresh with a new car or a newer car? And a more reliable car? So I considered used first. I've never had a new car and I've always bought used. So I wasn't automatically thinking a brand new car. I looked at used cars. I looked at certified pre-owned cars. I looked at new cars. I compared prices. I went to CarMax a lot. I went to 3 different CarMaxes in my area. And the thing I love about CarMax is that you can sit in all the cars and there's no salesman that comes out and asks you any questions. You're practically on your own on the lot. So I sat in so many different cars. And I was looking at SUVs. My Mazda was an SUV. It's a CX-5, and so I really wanted an SUV. So I had it narrowed down to 4: Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, and Kia. Toyotas and the Hondas, they're so expensive. They have great reliability, but they're just a lot more expensive than the Kias or the Hyundais. And also, when I was looking inside of the Hondas and the Toyotas and sitting inside them, I just didn't really like the inside. They just seemed to be a little more outdated and that they didn't really have an updated tech package. It just seemed old, kind of what I currently have. So I didn't really like that. So what made me lean towards a new car is basically the new car warranty, knowing exactly how the vehicle was treated. It'll have the latest safety technology, not having to worry about previous ownership, financing incentives that came with the newer car or the new cars, and the difference in price between a newer car and a certified pre-owned car. The certified pre-owned cars are usually more expensive than just the normal used cars. But when I was looking at the prices, for example, there was a 2006 certified pre-owned car and it was $33,000. And then a brand new car of a similar model type was $34,000. So that was only $1,000 difference between a used car and a brand new car. And the other thing that really drove me to the decision of getting a brand new car is just a peace of mind. Just knowing that I'm going to have the full manufacturer's warranty because I'm not going to be the second owner. And that's really important to me going into retirement. I don't want to have to pay for a bunch of repairs or that something could break down. With the Hyundais and the Kias, they come with the longer warranty. They came with a 100,000 10-year powertrain warranty and then a 5-year 60,000 limited basic warranty. And so that seemed to be better warranties than the Honda or the Toyota. And so that's kind of why I chose the Hyundai or the Kia as my top 2. And then when I finally narrowed it down to, those 2 are so similar. I drove them both multiple times. I've sat in many of them. And I think it basically just came down to the looks of the car. So I decided that I was going to get the Kia Sportage. So then next came the question is, how much of a car do I really need? Do I need something with all the fancy features? Do I need to get the top model, the top of the line? And I thought, no, as long as it had a blind spot monitoring and a backup camera and wireless CarPlay, I thought that's all I need. I don't need anything fancy. So then I went to the Kia dealership and I was going to buy the car. I sat down with the salesperson that I had been dealing with. And it was just their base. It was one step up from the base model. And it didn't have any fancy features, which was fine. It didn't have a panoramic sunroof, which was fine. I never even used my sunroof. And they were going to give me $9,000 trade-in for my Mazda. And I was hoping I could get 10. And so I said, well, I'll have to think about it. So when I left, I just wasn't excited about the car. I mean, it just didn't excite me. And I thought, God, if I'm paying all this money for a brand new car, I really want it to excite me. And so then I decided, okay, I'm going to go to another Kia dealership across town, 45 minutes away. And I drove a car over there, and it was the same car, but it had some updated packages. It had the tech package and some other package with it. And when I drove it, it had the panoramic sunroof. It had this cool thing when you open the door, the seat goes back, and then when you get in, the seat moves up. And it had a 360 camera, so it was easy to see when I was parking. And when I left, I thought, God, I was just so excited about that car. And so I thought maybe it's better to pay a couple more thousand to get something that really excites me, to get maybe some fancy features that I didn't think I needed. And so I thought, I'm going to buy that car. They didn't give me an offer on my car, a trade-in value. They didn't have time to do that. And so I thought, since the other Kia dealership was only going to give me $9,000, who knows what they're going to give me. So I went online to CarMax, and I did one of those online car appraisals, and it came back at $12,000. And so I thought, okay. And so then I thought, a lot of people tell me you should go in person because it's better to actually, if you have an in-person, an appraisal where you go in and they're actually giving you a piece of paper that they actually saw the car in person, those are usually better or hold more weight. So I made an appointment at the CarMax, and to my surprise, it came back even higher in person. They were going to give me $13,000 for my car. So God, I thought, that's great. So I contacted my sales rep at the last Kia dealership that I went to. And I said, if you give me $13,000 for my car, I will come in this weekend and buy the car. And to my surprise, the salesperson said, yes, we will give you $13,000 trade-in for your car. So I was so excited. Oh my gosh, right? So then I went to the Kia dealership to buy my car. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be so easy. And so the car buying experience was a little different process. So the sales rep came back with a sheet that had the prices, and I looked at the price of the car, and it was $10,000 more than, what it was when I was there. And I was like, oh my God, $10,000 more. And it's because there were so many dealer add-ons. There must have been 7 or 8 things that was added on to the price. And I'm like, 10,000 more. I'm like, oh my God, there was so many things on it. And she tried to explain what they were. And I'm like, $300 for key replacement, $2,500 for a maintenance plan, $799 for sealant, gap insurance. And I told her, I don't want any of these things. I don't need gap insurance. I'm putting down a large enough down payment with my car. I don't want any of these things. Take them off. So then she'd leave, come back again after talking with the manager or the finance person with a new sheet. And it still would have 5 things on it. And I'd be like, I'm not buying any of these things. I'll take them all off. So then she'd leave, come back again. We must have went through this 4 different times. At one point, I was so upset. I thought, I'm just going to leave. And then I thought, if I leave and I go to my car, I'm probably going to start crying because I wanted this car so bad. And then I'd have to start the whole process over again. So I stuck to my gun. She finally came back the 4th time, and she had everything off except for the car sealants. And those were $799. And I'm like, what is this? And she's like, it's already on the car. She goes, we're an outdoor dealership, and so we put these sealants on all of our cars. And I thought, yeah, but all dealerships are outdoor dealerships. Very rarely are all the cars inside. She's like, it's just something extra we do. And I'm like, so it's already on the car? I don't have to come back? She's like, no, it's already on the car. And so I thought, oh my God, if it's already on the car, what am I going to do? And so I kind of caved in, and I'm like, oh, fine, I'll just leave that on. So that was the only thing she left on. In hindsight, looking back, I should have said, take it off or I'm leaving. And I think she had just worn me down so much, but I thought, they're giving me $13,000 for my car. Fine, I'll pay this $799 for the sealants. So we finally got that worked out. And then she came back with the prices as far as financing, because I was going to finance with a 5-year loan. And so they weren't giving me the $2,000 financing discount that was on the original contract, and she said, well, if you're not financing, you get the $2,000 if you finance through Kia Finance. You only get a $650 discount if you finance through our other companies. And so I'm like, well, I want to see the sheets on both so I can compare the rates. And she didn't want to do that. And I'm like, look, I'm paying a lot of money for this car. I want to see both comparisons side by side so I can see what the better deal is. So I ended up going with the $2,000 dealer discount, even though the interest rate was slightly higher. And then when I got home, I asked Chat GPT the question, because I thought, oh my God, it's so hard to do this when they're staring at you. And Chat came back and said I made the right decision, because with that $2,000 discount I was getting, even though it was a higher interest rate, the interest rate difference was so small that was the better deal. So that made me feel good. Anyhow, so then I signed all the contracts, and I was just, oh my God, I still wasn't excited. I was so stressed out, and I thought, I'm looking over everything again before I'm signing, making sure that she didn't add something on that I didn't see. Oh my God, I was just double checking everything. So then I had to wait a half hour to get the car, because then they were going to wash it and detail it, and still wasn't excited about this at this point. I thought, oh my God. But then when they said it was ready, and I walked out and I saw the car, and it was by itself, and it was all washed and looking all new and shiny, and I walked all around it, and I was like, oh my God, I just love this car. And so then I got in it, and the sales rep got in it with me and showed me all the features and got me all set up with the Apple CarPlay, so at least I could get it home. And then she hopped out, and I was on my way, and I was so afraid to leave the dealership, thinking, oh my God, I have to drive 45 minutes in rush hour traffic with this new car. And oh my God, because it was a little bit, it's bigger than Mazda. Anyhow, I got home, and I just love the car. I swear, for the first week, I kept looking out the window all day long, looking at the car. I'd be excited to go to the grocery store because I'd get to drive my new car. I felt so good about my decision, because even though I ended up paying more for a brand new car and more with maybe some features I probably wouldn't have bought, it was about making a decision that I felt comfortable with as I got closer to retirement, because it gave me a peace of mind. Because now I feel like I can go on road trips. I can go to the beach, which is 2 hours away, knowing that I have a brand new car. And this should last me a while. I plan on keeping this car 5 or 10 years. And so, well, not 5 years, but probably 10 years. And so it just gave me a peace of mind that I have the warranties and that it's a brand new car. And so after all, I'm happy with the decision. See, I've only had the car for a short time, but I'm planning to do a separate review from a perspective of a woman, a person in their 60s buying this car. All the features that I love, what I don't like, what I might do different, and if it was really worth the price that I paid for it. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.